Today, on the And I Don't Like It podcast, we have an interview with JP Miller.
Well, on the line. What's up, boy?
JP, what's up? What's up?
Nothing much, man. Driving in the rain.
Driving in the rain, driving in the rain. Be careful.
I didn't know that this was going to be like a recorded thing, but I assume it's being recorded.
Yeah.
Okay, if I feel uncomfortable, I'm going to pretend like I have to get off the phone for an emergency.
There you go.
Maybe it'll be like a fake wreck or something.
I want to start off first and get some information about you before Micah, because that's what I haven't heard any of, to get some background about who you are and how you came up and the type of person you were coming up. What kind of student were you?
Hung out with rednecks. I was unsaved. You know, I was in church my whole life. I served my whole life in church. That's kind of what we were raised to do. But I kind of despised Christians. They were fake. They were phony. They were judgmental. I grew up seeing Christians, you know, act one way in church, and when they walk out the doors, they're talking bad about people and gossiping. And if the internet had been around in the 80s and 90s, if we had social media in the 80s and 90s, I probably would have never gotten saved and never become a pastor, just because of all the people who call themselves Christians and seeing what they do to other people, you know, on the internet and so forth. And so in my high school years, this was, you know, redneck. We all had trucks and TVs in our trucks with split antennas, and you know, I made good grades. I was a straight A student, but just kind of hung out with guys who were willing to fight for their friends and have loyalty for one another. And you know, if someone was messing with one of us, they were messing with all of us, kind of thing.
Okay.
And then I got married early, you know, young at 19, 20 years old, and I started researching ways to disprove the Bible. You know, I knew Christianity, and I grew up in that environment. I thought, you know, I'm going to prove that it's wrong. I'm going to prove that it's not true. And so I started trying to disprove the Bible, and I could not do it. And I started trying to prove Buddhism or Islam and Hinduism and so forth, and I kept finding gaps in all of those different religions, and I kept finding holes in it and things that didn't go together and contradictions. And so after all that, I decided, you know what, I think I'm going to be a Christian, and I gave my life to Jesus, and shortly after, I started a church and started pastoring.
And what age was that when you gave your life to Jesus?
So I always had Jesus in my head, right?
Mm-hmm.
That's what a lot of people confuse being saved as is they know about Jesus, they believe what the Bible says, but that doesn't make you a Christian. But they're getting the, you know, when it comes to a human, the Bible refers to getting saved as, and I'm driving while I'm talking, but it refers to getting saved as someone who's being born again, right? A birth takes place, a new birth. And in the natural, when the seed is planted, you know, in the woman, that's just the seed. That's not the birth. Then after she has the seed, she has to carry it around for 9 months. And then after that, it's going to be born. And so I think when it comes to salvation, a lot of people think they're Christians because they got the seed.
Right.
The Word of God. They believe the Word of God is true. But they need to carry that around and decide if they're really going to make Jesus the Lord of their life. And so once they've carried it around for, let's say, 9 months, you know, once they've gone back and forth and really got to know who God is, then they make the decision, you know what, I'm going to be born again and make Jesus the Lord of my life. And that is true salvation. And so I'll have Jesus, the seed of Jesus inside of me for a decade or more, you know, 2 decades. It wasn't until I was around 25. Well, so you'll understand this, I'm sure. I don't know if everybody else will, but, you know, Stephen Furtick is a great evangelist, and Joel Osteen is a great evangelist. I'm not an evangelist. I don't preach to non-believers. My gifting and my desire is to teach to people who are already Christians. Now, some people get saved at our church, and that's great, but I like to teach to Christians who are already saved and want to grow and want to go deeper. And that's just, so my ministry has always been mainly geared at Christians. That's why a lot of this stuff going on doesn't really bother me so bad, because none of it is from Christians. It's all from non-Christians or people who think they're Christians. But my heart and my ministry is for people that are saved and want to go deeper. Now, if you're not saved, I'd still love for you to come to my church.
Mm-hmm.
I'm just saying that our environment and my teaching is not geared to non-believers. It's geared to believers. So, yeah, that's what we focus on. And I started in 2006. Then in 2015, I had an affair. Micah and I were both married.
Okay.
And we had an affair. And I was asked to step down, and the church closed down. And then in 2016, I started back pastoring Solid Rock Market Common. And it was doing very well. We started with 12 people, and it grew to 100, and then 200, and 300. And then COVID hit, and we thought, well, man, that's it, because every church in the area closed down. Well, after about a week or two, I thought, you know what? Even if only one person shows up, I got to go back to church. And so we reopened it, and we just started blowing up. I mean, we had, coming in by the hundreds. And
they were saying, I think it was her father, it was said that you pushed her for the augmentation.
Yeah, so now I have all the paperwork that shows that she did it. I have the emails showing she wanted it, and I was opposed. And so there's things that she kept wanting to do. So I'm a very natural kind of guy. I don't like tattoos at all. I think they're trashy. I don't like anything added to your body. I don't like your hair being dyed, I'm just funny like that.
Right.
Well, over the years, she wanted her eyebrows tattooed. And so, okay, baby, whatever you want. She wanted her, every time she got a tattoo, she wanted me to get a tattoo as well. And I don't like pain. I didn't like tattoos, but I found this cool cream, you can wipe on you and not feel the first 20 minutes of tattoo. Anyway, and so I'd go with her to get a tattoo, whatever she wanted, and then I'd get me like a scripture verse. I have about 15 verses on my arm and some stuff. And she wanted her hair dyed. I would go to CVS and get the dye with her, and I'd put the gloves on, and I'd do her hair and all that kind of stuff. And she wanted fake hair one time, and so I said, whatever she wants to do, I love her, I support her, I give her my opinion, and then I let her be who she is. And so she wanted the augmentation, and she didn't need it. She was perfect. She was beautiful. She was gorgeous. And I didn't even like the doctor she'd used. I felt weird stuff about that, and I told her, and she's very strong-willed, and so she went through with it. And two things happened. One is, a few weeks afterwards, one of her body parts started getting hard like a bowling ball, and I said, we need to sue this guy because, I knew something was weird, and his practice closed down from lawsuits like immediately before we could do anything. Another thing that happened was when she came out of anesthesia in the hospital, she started speaking different languages. And I was like, what the heck is going on? And they weren't real languages. She thought they were.
Mm-hmm.
She said, I can speak 3 languages, and she started talking. And I said, there's something weird going on. And I brought her home, thinking that maybe she needed some water. I don't know what happened.
Mm-hmm.
And she emailed a friend of mine, and I have the email. It's the most unusual email you're ever going to read in your whole life. It's like pages and pages and pages of delusions and psychotic ideas without using a period or a comma, and it's like a novel. It's like a novel on acid kind of thing. And when I got that, and the person sent it to me, I said, okay, something's wrong. We got to go to the hospital. So I called her doctor that did the augmentation. I said, something's wrong, man. You need to meet us at the hospital. And he met us at the hospital. And while we were in the waiting room, he came there and he said, she's having a psychotic episode. She's acting like she's schizophrenic. And I thought, no, it can't be that. And she was so happy. She was like, she said, I'm going to change the world, and I'm going to solve world peace. And she was just doing, like, really unusual things. Well, they took her back, and I guess on staff at every emergency room, they have a psych doctor, whatever you call them, whatever, anyway. Mm-hmm. And he came out and told me, he said, she's having a schizophrenic episode, and he said that the anesthesia that she just came out of must have triggered it. They asked if there's any mental illness in her family. And I said, well, both the parents are, I guess they tried, and some of these details are fuzzy to me because it's been so much stuff since 2017. But from what I remember, when she got out a week or so later, the medicine was kind of working, kind of not working. And then she went back in, I think, after our public wedding. We had a public wedding on the 31st, and we went on a vacation. Yeah, public wedding on the 31st, went on a vacation, honeymoon. And then we got back, and she tried going to work and couldn't. And I think that's the time where she would wake up and say things like, this happened several times over the years, but she'd wake up and she'd say, I think I'm supposed to kill myself today. And I'd say, no, that's not what we're going to do. What are you talking about? I said, are you sad? No. I said, do you need something? No. I said, are you upset? What's going, like, what are you feeling? She said, I'm not feeling anything. My mind's just telling me I need to kill myself. And so I didn't know any better, but I'd say, baby, you're not going to do that. You're going to do great. I'm going to pray for you. And, you're going to go to work, and we're going to have dinner together, and life's going to be great, And that was around the time, I believe, if I'm getting this so many times up, I believe that's one of the times where she got the gun from Dick's pawn shop before, and went out front in front of the house and tried to fire it, but it got stuck, and then she ended up firing it, and I heard it, the neighbor said it, we all came in and crashed her, jumped her and took the gun, and I took her back to the hospital. And I think that next hospital visit, I think, was the Lighthouse. I could be wrong. I think it's the Lighthouse. And I think she was there twice. That's in Conway. And all I remember about that place was when I visited her, the floors were so sticky that it was a nasty, nasty place. But they ended up getting her medicine as correct, I think, as it could be of what she needed at that time. And then that went on. Then she was good, after that until coming off of medicine again a year later or whatever it was. I don't know the exact dates right now, but
I don't know, y'all. What do y'all think so far?
Did you see signs of this before y'all got married? That's what because from what I'm hearing, correct me if I'm wrong, it seems like after this augmentation or whatever, a lot of this stuff to kind of spiral from there. Or correct me if I'm wrong. So the schizophrenic fruit, what would you call it? I'm not saying the right word. The schizophrenic things that you see from a schizophrenic person, those were never there till after the augmentation. Okay. But and also maybe the reason one was messed up, maybe it was leaking and that did something to her system. I don't know. But the bipolar now, she's always been very up or very down. And I knew that knowing her, and I knew that, marrying her, where she, really, really high or really, really low. Okay. She only talked about one time to me before the augmentation, and that was when she was actually, that wasn't a schizophrenic thing, that was just a depressed thing. It was when when the affair first happened, and she wanted to marry me right away or be together right away, or I just remember a conversation we were with that. She just said, I want to, my life's not what I want to be. I want to be with you. Was once at the end of 2022 when she went to the hospital, beginning of 2023, when I told her, because we got a big fuss, I said, I cannot have you here if you're not going to take your medicine, because you could hurt me, you could hurt a kid, you could hurt yourself, you could hurt somebody. I just can't, you have to take your medicine, baby. The doctors say you got to take it. Anytime you don't take it, bad things happen, you got to take it. That's what it was. That's something they said you made her take testosterone. Go ahead. Why would I make my wife take testosterone? I have a picture of my, if you want to see my, the testosterone, prescription. I have the picture of the prescription and the date and everything if you want to see it. But what I want her to do that. Right. So now we got we're going into the 20 minutes where basically what I'm gonna do, these are the comment questions. So this is kind of like more rapid fire. If you don't want to answer it, just say, or you can't answer it. It's all up to you, because this is just going to be quick answers, so you don't really got to go into no detail. These are just questions that I see in the comments all the time when I open my phone. So I figure it'd be cool to just go, one after the other. You can either answer it quickly or just move on. and then we don't have to spend too much time on these answers. And then after that, go ahead. What were you gonna say?
Just so you know, I have all the time in the world because I have no life.
Okay.
Stay in the phone till midnight if you want.
Okay. So all right. So like I said, you can get whatever answer you want to give. But I'm just saying, I'm just asking the questions. I'm not even trying to develop them. I'm just want to ask, and I want to give you a chance to just go ahead and give your answer. So I'm just go right down the line. Let's start. Okay, so first of all, this is just a question for me to open up this segment, basically. Why do you think, in your opinion, why do you think so many people believe that you had something to do with what happened to Micah?
I think that the world always believes the first voice they hear and the most negative voice they hear. And when you get those two things combined, that's what our nation does. We've kind of been trained on social media, we're trained on TV, we're trained in politics. Always believe the negative voice, the loudest voice, the first voice. And when you put those three things together, it's people that are unintelligent or people that don't know how to ask questions, they're going to believe it. It's almost like if you're having presidential debates and Trump's the only one standing up there and there's no one else. And there's nobody else that's anywhere. Of course you're going to believe what he says. But if you go and ask the other opponents some questions, well, then you have some more information. And so for some reason, though, people would rather, it actually says in Proverbs 18, verse 2, that a fool would rather just hear opinions and not understand something and ask questions. And I think that a lot of times that's what our nation does. It's that.
And y'all know we had to get into the infamous picture of J.P. Miller at, I believe it was a restaurant, a short while after Micah Miller unalived herself. He went into that.
The pic of you out in the restaurant. This is around the time when Micah Miller was unalive, or right after or something. Who were you with, and who was that young lady that was with you? Who was that to you?
This was a few days after Micah passed, and let me say something about myself. So
go ahead.
I'm still yet to grieve. I'm still yet to deal with this. I like to work. And right now I'm in this, battle going on with everything around me, so I don't have time to even mourn my wife. Barely have time to even talk to anybody about it. A few days after she passed, I was at church, and a lot of our youth leaders were standing. I said, "Will somebody go to dinner with me tonight? Will somebody meet me for dinner? Just to be with me. I don't want to be by myself." And everybody was like, "Oh, I got this, I got that." And she said, "Well, I'll go." And so I met her there, and the entire time we're there, we talked about Micah. The entire time, the manager of the restaurant can attest to that he's really, really upset about the stuff that people have said in that picture. And Susie's an incredible person, incredible friend, full of integrity. She's like Mother Teresa. And it's so funny on everybody in the world that they could have said things about. It's funny they chose her because there's not one single negative thing she's done her entire life. She was a great wife to her husband for, I think, 18, 20 years. He was a quadriplegic. They met when he was a quadriplegic, married. She gave birth to twins, raised twins, took care of her husband, and worked full-time, and served in her church all that time. And I don't think there's another person you'll find in the world who's done that type of goodness to people. But she was there that night, and she was kind enough to be there. And we talked about Micah, cried about Micah. She's lost her spouse, and so I just really appreciate any friendship that she's willing to give. She was such a good person. She was such a good person to Micah, and Micah loved her, and Micah would help, pick up the kids from school sometimes, and take even her kids and take them home and so forth. And I'll say this, and I wasn't going to say this until a later time, but my beautiful wife, wonderful, beautiful wife, one time when she wasn't taking her medicine, she thought I was double agent, and she tried to poison me. So she had spilled an entire. She had taken an entire bottle of CBD oil, and I don't even know where she got CBD oil. Maybe her family. I don't know. I didn't know there was such thing. And she poured it into some hot chocolate, and she made me hot chocolate. And so I ended up on the floor, and I'm scared to death. I can't stop smiling, but I'm crying in fear. And I'm like, "Baby, what's going on?" And she smiled, said, "I just wanted you to see the world the way I see the world." Well, I could die. I said, "Call 911, call 911. She's like, "Nope, I'm not calling 911. I said, "Mike, give me my phone. Call 911. She said, "No." She said, "What's wrong with you?" I said, I'm getting vertigo. I said, the whole room's moving, like I'm getting vertigo. I was throwing up all over the place. So she called Susie, and she said, I know you help people with vertigo. Can you come help John Paul? She said, okay. And Micah's like, you better not say anything. He's coming to help you now. You be good, whatever. So I'm like, oh, God, I'm on the floor. And she came over, and of course, she knew something was really off. And at this point, no one had known really that Micah had a mental illness. I've done really good to try to keep it. I always say this thing, Micah she was the one who wanted to tell people. She begged all the time to tell people, and it's my fault, I probably should have done better, but I told her, I said, honey, if you tell people that, they might think less of you, or not that. I said, they might not be as influential. And but we finally made a decision that she was going to tell her story, and she was actually planning a big ladies' breakfast for, I think, March of this past year. She already had the little campaigns made, the mental illness thing, awareness. Mm-hmm. She was going to tell her whole story and how she wants to survive off medicine and all. Of course, never got to. But anyway, back to the decision thing. And so Susie comes and she helps me with my vertigo and she leaves. And then a few weeks later, she was like, what in the world was that? And I was like, it's no big deal or whatever. Well, then that was at the point in the 2023 or into 2022 where Micah had to get back to the mental institute again. And so then it started coming out that she did have mental illness. At that point, people were starting to find out. And so the point is that Micah trusted Susie. Susie's a great friend to both of us. And she lived a great life taking care of her husband and kids. And anybody that says anything otherwise about her is horrible. Like, talk about me, whatever. Don't talk about somebody who was married to a quadriplegic the entire time, took care of him, moved him around all throughout the day and night, came home from work to take care of him, gave birth to twins, raised twins, worked full-time, only breadwinner. She's a good one.
Go ahead.
And Micah took her on vacation for her kids. It was Micah's idea. Micah, Christmas this year, I think it was. Micah, we always like to do things for people at Christmas, and so she said, well, why don't we take Susie and the kids on vacation? So Micah actually brought Susie and the kids with us to a ski trip up in the mountains somewhere. Micah and her were close, and Micah was actually over her as a youth leader. At one point, Micah was in charge of all the youth leaders, and Susie was under her, so they met every week and all that kind of stuff. So.
Okay. So the next question, JP, why do you have over 300 pieces of evidence? Why were you even collecting anything? These are all comment questions, remember.
Great question. So the first two times Micah went in the mental institute, I was beside myself, did not know what to do. I just did. I'm dumbfounded. I remember going to a class and like for people that are married to someone with mental illness of this magnitude, and they said, you're going to have to take care of her every day for the rest of her life. She may never be the same. I have an email that I wrote Micah when she was in the hospital the second time, and it said to me, I said, baby, they told me that there may only be a few days each year that you are who I married, and that you might have to be in a mental institute the rest of your life, and I visit you once a week, and I said, I'm just scared to death. I don't know what to do, and all this going on. Well, one of the things that happens with Micah's disease is that she loses, I don't know if the word is empathy, or she loses understanding of what happens around her when she's in that state. Like, in other words, she doesn't understand the pain it causes me or whomever else when she chooses to stop taking medicine and thinks that she's gonna. One time she was convinced that she could run through the neighborhood without a shirt on, which of course I stopped her, but I'm just saying that, she doesn't understand the ramifications of those things. And so after the second time in the hospital, I began collecting things, because when she would come to and get back on meds, she would not believe she did the stuff. She wouldn't believe. I showed her texts on her phone that she sent people, and she didn't believe she did that. I showed her an email that she sent, she didn't believe that. I showed her, so one time, she thought that I was a double agent. We were watching TV, and she started asking questions. I thought, oh no, baby, have you been taking your meds? And then she punched me right in the face, and my nose was bleeding all over the place. And so I ran in the bedroom, and I locked the door, and thought, okay, dear God, I'm trying to text a friend of mine who's a police officer and saying, what do I do? I just need help. I don't want to get in trouble and all this. And so she thinks that I stole her pocketbook or her makeup or something. and she's kicking the door, and she kicks the hole in the door. And then I don't know what happened that night. I think I left and came back, and she got back in her meds or whatever. But days later, I was looking, I was watching her, and she looked at a picture on her phone. And I was like, what are you looking at? She's like, I'm looking at that hole that you kicked in our door. I'm telling my family that you kicked the hole. I said, I didn't kick the hole in the door. She said, yes, you did. I just took a picture of it. The hole's still there. I just took it to my family. I told them, I said, baby, I promise you, I didn't kick the hole in the door. She's like, it's not Paul. Who else would do it? And I said, Micah, you did that. I said, I have a video of you doing it. And I remember showing her the video, and she was so upset with herself. Like, she was crying her eyes out. She was so apologetic. She was, she could not believe she did that to our house. I can't even do it to our house. I did it to you. And I was like, it's okay. I just didn't want you to think that I did it. I said, we'll buy another door, we'll buy 100 doors. I don't care about the stupid door. We'll leave the hole there if you want the hole there. I don't care. I just need you to know that this is the stuff that happens when you come off your medication. And so because of that, I learned that if I don't say certain pieces of facts, that she'll think that someone broke in our house and did something, or she'll think that, you know, the boogeyman down the road, or somebody at church, or whatever the case is. And so I never thought in a million, billion, trillion years I would ever have to use any of that to prove that I took care of my wife. I never once ever abused her, and never wanted anything bad to ever happen to her.
Okay.
I had no idea that that's what I would be using that for.
Okay, that makes sense.
I don't know, y'all, what y'all think. Let's get into the next question.
In your opinion, what was her main reason for filing divorce, and what was your initial reaction when you received the papers? Like, did you call her or what? Did y'all talk?
Yeah, I filed in when she left. I think I filed in February, and then something happened in March that assured me she was mentally ill. Like, you know, I thought maybe I was wrong this time, but maybe God did heal her, and maybe she was fine, and I hadn't even heard from her, and everybody's saying she's okay. And then something happened in March, on March 11th, and I realized in that moment she was 100% mentally ill, and so I dropped my divorce, and I thought I'll get her back. And then a few days before the papers, I knew it was because she was mentally ill, and she even told me a lady's name that was paying her, which I don't know if it's true or not, but she told me that this lady named Helen gave her $5,000 to divorce me. And I said, baby, just an hour ago you told me that you want to move back home, but your family won't let you. And she said, but I need money to go to Africa, move to Africa. I said, I'll give you money to move to Africa. You know, you don't have to separate for that. And then she spent 30 minutes telling me the difference between a missionary and a pastor, and got into psychotic stuff. But anyway, the sad thing about the separation paper is that.
So okay, so let's go back to the sermon that everybody talks about. This is right after the incident. You got news, and you preached the sermon, and then you told the congregation, I guess, after you were done with the sermon, and a lot of people, felt a kind of way about that. Now, if you could go back, the way you handled it, would you do it the same or differently? And if you would do it the same or differently, just explain why, please.
I would do the exact same.
Okay, now explain why.
So when I got the call that night, my first impression was it's a fake call. Because it's not like the guy was like, oh, I'm so sorry for your loss. It was just a very non-emotional, black and white call, like, here's the facts. And I thought, well, you know what, the family's playing a trick on me, or Micah's playing a trick on me, or Micah wants to see what I'll do, or whatever. That's my first thought.
Okay.
My second thought was, if it is real, I don't want to deal with it right now, and I don't want to think about it, and I don't want to talk about it. And I wrote a book on heaven and hell, so I'm very, very strong. I know every detail that the Bible has to say about heaven. When I woke up the next morning, which everyone's telling me not to come to church, not to preach, I had this thought. if I'm in fear by myself, I'm just going to kill myself and be with my wife. Because I cannot believe that everything I strive for all this time to keep her alive and keep her enjoying life, and all the sleepless nights and all the nights where I was, praying to God that she wasn't going to do something in the middle of the night, and all the times I tried to get her medicine and talk her into her medicine, and all the times I went along with her delusion to try to get her medicine, and all the times that I took her on vacation and she forgot her medicine, I had to find a way to get medicine to her, and all the different things I went through to keep her alive. And then now, all of a sudden, right now, I completely lost it all. The last thing I want to do is be by myself. And me preaching is something I can do with my eyes closed. It's easier for me to stand up there and preach than it is for me to sit there and do nothing.
Okay.
And so there was no effort on my part to do that. It wasn't some, I can't believe he preached. That's like saying I can't believe he sat there and breathed.
Right.
For me.
I think maybe the issue too is that they would have thought they would have rather you opened with it. So that's what I think that's what kind of caught people off guard. Give me the reason why you didn't say it.
Wait.
Go ahead.
Wait, you said something great. Yes, I literally thought that morning. I literally, in fact, in my office, I told my best friend, I said, dude, Micah would want me to do this. Like, a week before she left, she's on the front row whistling at me. Like, this is what she loved. This was her thing. This was her church. This was, more than anything, this was her, her whole week, all for just, like me, we prayed our whole week for Sunday morning. That's exactly what I was thinking.
All right.
Michael would have wanted me to do it. Now, the reason I did the announcement at the end is because that's what I was told to do.
Okay.
I didn't have a preference. If I did it beforehand, I probably wouldn't have been able to preach. And the reason I told people to leave and not talk about it is because I didn't want to hear anything. I didn't want to hear mental illness. I didn't want to hear someone say something like, she's crazy. I didn't want them to hear, we knew that would happen. And maybe they would have never said that. I just didn't want to hear anybody say anything. I wanted them to take it to Jesus and let him deal with them, and then they can talk about it later.
Okay.
That.
I'm glad to answer that. That's a big question out there. Now, have you seen the footage in the pawn shop that's all over the internet of her in the pawn shop? Have you saw that footage?
I've only looked at the picture of her smiling at the counter.
Okay. So you don't know more. Okay. So
I don't have any social media. I don't look at the news. I don't watch YouTube. If I ever see anything, it's because somebody sends me a clip or a picture of something. But all I saw was the picture of her smiling at the counter.
Okay. Just in general, were there ever threats made between, like, in your rocky relationships or whatever was going on? Were there any threats between either from you to Micah or Micah to you, either that was behind closed doors, or is there anything like in police report or anything like that ever went on?
What do you mean, like a threat?
No, okay, like a serious threat. Like when you get into it with your spouse, sometimes you might say something, or she might say something, or you might say something. You might say, "I'm gonna do this to you," or "I'm gonna do that to you," or any of that. Was that? And it could be normal where it didn't mean nothing. I'm just saying, was it that? Did it get to that level? That's what I'm saying. Like the arguments.
There's a video of me. I met her at Honda. Well, I was at Honda first, and I was taking her mail to somebody who was going to bring it to her. When I saw her, I just went and gave her a mail. She was saying something that she's going to do. Brett, I forget what it was. It was just something dumb. She wasn't in her right mind. But when I said back to her, I said, I'm going to put the pictures of you and somebody else up on Facebook. Somebody thought that was me saying something, but no, I would never do that. But I did threaten in that moment. I think I did threaten. I said, well, if you do that to me, I'm going to show the pictures of you and, this boy or something. And then I walked away. Of course, never did it. I said that, so she did something she shouldn't have done on March 11th, something she would never in a zillion years do, ever, when she's on medication.
Mm-hmm.
She did something that she only does when she's off medication. And that's how I knew that she was mentally ill and needs help, was on that day, which was March 11th. And there was some pictures taken of her and somebody else doing something inappropriate. And so when I was taking her mail and she said something, I forget what she said, it doesn't matter, but I said, well, if you do that, I'm going to put pictures of you and that boy up on Facebook.
The rumor was that you did post naked pictures and took it down. So I'm trying to clear that now, because that's like really what people think. You know, people really think that's what's really out there.
Yeah.
So it's not that. So you never. It wasn't naked pictures, and you never posted whatever you said you were gonna post. Right? Is that what you're saying?
I don't think there's I can. I don't think there's a naked picture of her out there anywhere.
Yeah, I know. But yeah, they said that you posted and took it right back down. That was the rumor. Not that it's out there.
Oh no, that's in the apology letter. So
Okay.
the last time I saw her, when I finally got to the end of our 4 hours, I said, "What would it take for me to get you back on medication before something bad happens?" She said, "Okay, here's what you got to do." She said, "If you'll write an apology to me for the following things," and she listed a whole bunch of crazy stuff. She said, "If you tell me you're sorry for that stuff and make it really good and give me $10,000, I'll take my medicine." And I said, "Okay, I don't have $10,000. She said, "Well, I want to move to Africa." I said, "Well, how about this? How about I give you $1,000 and an apology?" She said, "Okay." And she said, "But it has to be handwritten." I thought that was weird. And then she handed me an apology that she wrote out of her diary, her actual diary, not the one that people are making up, but like a real diary, which is all about our vacations and poems and stuff like that.
Okay.
She wrote this apology to me, hand wrote it, I have a picture of it.
Mm-hmm.
She tore it out of a diary, and half of it's unusual, the other half is normal. It's just, you can tell she's not mentally right. But anyway, and I said, "You'll do that?" I said, "You run your medicine?" She said, "Yeah." I said, "Okay." I said, "I'll have you a check for tomorrow," and I said, I'll go ahead and write you an apology. She said, "Okay." So she left, so I emailed her an apology that said, "I'm so sorry for everything, da-da-da." And she said, "That is not what I said to write. I said to write one with all the details, you know, apologize for doing this and doing this." I said, "But Mike, I didn't do those things." She said, "Yes, you did." And so then I texted Reverend Randall and I said, "Hey," I said, "I think I have my win. I think I finally got it. If I give her $1,000 and I write an apology for a bunch of stuff that I didn't do that she has in her head, I said, she'll get back in her medicine and then she'll understand I didn't do it. She'll be okay. What do you think?" And he said, and I have all this, you know, of course, my affidavit and I have the email and everything. He said, "No," he said, "you don't apologize for something you didn't do. That's not wise. And, you know, you shouldn't do it, blah, blah, blah." So I said, "Okay." Well, I did it anyway. And so I sent that apology letter that everybody's reading. And, you know, it'd be easy for me, if I wanted to lie, I would just say I never wrote it.
Right.
There's no, my name's not on it. There's no signature. I just typed out. All I got to do is lie and say, that's bogus. Somebody made that up. You know,
Right.
There's no proof.
Right.
And I did write it, and I wrote it exactly. So I wrote it how I thought she wanted. Well, then she tells me, and she tells me through Africa. She texts Pastor Jumba in Africa. I paid for, that was my last hurrah, was I paid for him to come to America to try to get her back in her medicine because she really respected him, and they spent 4 days together, and he was so close to doing it. But anyway, she messaged him and said, John Paul wrote me an apology letter, but it's supposed to be written by hand. And he called me up. He says, "Brother, you got to do it by hand." And I thought, that sounds weird. You know what? I don't think I'm going to do that. I feel like somebody's setting me up. And it was just a few days later I got the separation papers, and I guess the apology letters in there saying I'm sorry for, I don't know, slashing tires, or sorry for, I don't know what it said. Whatever she's thinking happened, or I did. And so that's why people thought there was a naked picture, which there isn't.
Gotcha. It was an apology letter.
With me, the threat was me exposing her and her inappropriate behavior.
Okay. So, another question that's been asked a lot. Okay, now they do have a picture of your truck to show that you were, I guess, supposed to be in Charleston or wherever. Correct me if I'm wrong, or whatever the exact location is.
Another topic that was heavy on my page was JP Miller. Where were you? Who were you with? Do you have footage of where you were when Micah Miller unalived herself?
Have you either thought of, or are you ever gonna produce? Do you have any footage that you would, or anything else besides? I guess to make it simple, do you have anything else besides a picture of a truck showing that who or were you with somebody that can confirm what you were doing or anything like that? Anything past a picture of a truck moving, saying you were there?
100%. The authorities have it, but I was with about 100 people.
Okay.
From my kids' school.
Okay.
All of us together. We all ate dinner together. We all were at the games together that day, and I have receipts from the stores that I went to in Charleston that day.
Okay.
And the person that was with me the entire time, 100% of the time, even in my truck the whole time, is someone that I can neither confirm nor deny due to court papers asking me to keep them out of it.
Okay.
And they're in the pictures as well. And I want to always keep those people safe because I love them very, very much.
Okay. Yeah, fair.
I love those people more than anyone else on the earth.
So another big question that I was getting in my comments left and right was, does JP have a life insurance policy on Micah? We went into that.
Did you have an insurance policy on Micah? If you did, when did you purchase it, and have you collected on it? And I'm sure you can answer however you want, but it adds so much in my comments.
Absolutely not. No, absolutely not. Listen, I don't have money. I don't have an insurance policy in my life. No, absolutely not. Well, there's nothing that you're thinking. Nothing. Listen, I make as much money as a plumber. Mm-hmm. I just handle my money well. I just spend it wisely.
Right.
I wear the same 5 T-shirts every day of my life. I eat hamburgers, hot dogs, and peanut butter and jelly all day long. You know, except if I get a little Tokyo and have some sushi. Mm-hmm. But I'm just wise with my money.
Okay, another comment question. Good. Yeah, it ain't how you make it, it's how you save it. What happened with just another comment question. What happened with your dog tag that you had to go to the mall the day after she died?
Oh my gosh, that's such a great question. How do they know that?
It's a comment question. I don't know.
Dog tag.
Huh?
Okay, so
yeah, I don't know. It's
kind of
go ahead.
It's a very intimate thing, which I want everybody to know that's listening. I don't mind being transparent, and I feel like, which America's not like this, but I feel like y'all should reward honesty and transparency, and not take one little thing you hear you don't like and blow it up into a huge thing. And you know, we both were honest about it, and so, you know, everything happened that happened, the whole world blew up, and whatever. Anyway, so we wanted to see each other a date because we were able to, but I didn't know if I started a church back in 2016. I didn't know how they were going to feel because everybody despised her and blamed her and, you know, all these horrible things and all. And anyway, so she bought me something that didn't say I love you. She bought me a dog tag, and she had it made on there. She had it said, "You are special to me." Instead of saying like I love you or something like that. Some people, who gave you that? You know, whatever. I don't know why she thought that'd be better. But anyway, she said, it says, "You are special to me." And I always had it. I never worked, so I'm not a dog tag kind of guy. But anyway, so I thought, I'm gonna wear it. So I went to the mall and got a thing to wear it.
How's your relationship with Micah's family? How was it before all of this and after, or is it the same? Is it changed? What is it? Or is it no relationship?
I've always, with the exception of one time when they talked her into coming off of meds and leaving the house, and I never wanted her to leave the house when she's off of meds because I never know what she's going to do, but one time they talked her into doing that, and I got really mad, and I threatened to shoot one of their dogs, I think. But aside from that, I would always treat them good. I'd always be good to them. I always, you know, financially, what I can do to help them. I'd hire them if they needed a job. I'd use them in church if they wanted to be used. I put up with a lot of stuff, even illegal things at times. I put up with just for the sake of, you know, keeping peace. But the biggest problem that I could not handle, and I still don't get it, is when she would go into the mental institute and come off of meds, somehow they thought that I made her schizophrenic and she doesn't need medicine and all the doctors are wrong. And Michael would go to a different doctor because my family said I need a second opinion. We get a second opinion. They say the same thing. Third opinion, fourth opinion. and it was like I was fighting with ignorant people who have no idea the importance of medicine when you're mentally ill. And so when she passed away, the first thing that I did, which I just didn't want to text. After that, I said, I'll pay for whatever you need. I'd love to have I'll be part of the funeral. I'd love for you to be here. You know, you can have it however you want to have it, on and on. But they just take me back and never talk to us again or something like that. One of them, I mean, I paid for a bunch of their jewelry and I paid for their travel, but after that, hold on 1 second, please. I wish that they had just taken this seriously and understood all the times I told them, the 25,000 times I said, she's got to have the medicine, you know, this is what keeps her alive and normal, and they just didn't believe me for whatever reason. It is hard to believe, like when you see somebody and they're normal, and the very next conversation they're talking about, you know, world peace, or why doesn't it snow indoors, or whatever. It is hard to take in. It is hard to take in. But one pill could have saved her life.
Also, do you know who received or whatever happened to her Apple Watch?
No, I finished with the with her lawyer.
Okay.
But everything that was on her, or that was in her car or whatever, I'm told that all that's with her lawyer.
Okay. And they painted. Now the after everything happened, the narrative that's painted in social media is that you went over to the house and you were trying to get something out of that house through come hell or high water. I'm just painting it how it's painted on social media. Can you explain that? Meaning, like, what you were trying to get, or were you a little hasty? Were you a little because of what happened, or can you just clear that image up?
Yeah.
Go ahead.
Whose house?
You said what?
Whose house? I don't know.
I guess it was Micah's apartment. It was an apartment. Either it was where Micah was staying, and it was said that you went to the apartment and you had to leave some people or somebody that you were telling them to let you in because you needed something out of the apartment.
Oh yeah. It was, I don't remember how many days it was after she passed, but
yeah, I don't remember when it was. That I'm just talking about that story.
Yeah, no, of course I asked for her stuff. She's my wife.
No, okay, well, of course you asked for her stuff. So that's the answer. You went over there to get her stuff. You didn't go over there to get anything specifically, or one. That's. I guess that's what we want to clear up. It's not as far as social media. It's not. They're not saying it as you went over there to get her stuff. They're thinking you went over there to get something specifically, and you were going crazy about it.
Well, I mean, I might have mentioned a few things, like she made a sweatshirt in January that said Miller 2017. She was so proud of it. She sent me a picture of it. She was at the house when she took the picture. I was out eating lunch or something. So I wanted that sweatshirt. I wanted let's see, she had two diaries. One was one was poems to me, and the other one was all of our vacations that she write about. She just bought us the Bible in January of this year. She got us a Bible that said Micah and JP on the front of it, and she was so excited for that. So I was going to get that. There's a necklace she has. The necklace she has, it has like a little teeny bubble, and if you look inside of it, there's a naked picture of me. And so I wanted to make sure I got that.
Okay. Basically, where are you at right now as far as going forward with either, justice for Micah, or are you kind of, because you haven't had a chance to grieve, are you kind of just, going with the flow until you really get that moment to grieve? Like, kind of where are you at with everything right now?
Well, I would say this, in answer to that question, I want justice for Micah more than anyone.
Okay.
There's no one on earth that thinks about it more than I do, and I have everything needed for a logical person to see who's responsible and why it happened and what could have prevented it, so Micah can have justice. There's some upcoming things that's going to happen in the next several weeks, several months. And once we get through that, then I believe I'll be able to let my wife rest. And I don't even know how to grieve, man. Because I'm grieving more than just, I'm grieving what all has happened. Her mission, the Dare to Care missions for the children in Africa. I've never, in all the years I've known her, since we met, I've never seen her as excited as she was planning that school and preparing for the school and getting teachers. And that's a hard thing to do in a place where there's no bathrooms, and there's no air conditioning, no windows, and you're having to hire teachers that you can train and get someone to bring food every day for 300 kids and all. And these children, they live under these huge rocks. Some of them live under these rocks. Some of them live in the woods. Most of them don't have parents. Most of them are HIV positive. And we were hoping for 50 to 80 kids, and we got 150 the first day. And by the end of the week, this past time, we were up to 300 children. And these kids are walking from the woods. They're walking miles and miles and miles and miles just to come and get a shirt, because we quoted them, get physical food they can eat, and then we teach them the gospel, teach them the word. She just got a wedding band tattoo in January. She got how to pronounce other tattoos. And so most all that, the missions. I'm not a missions guy. I don't like missions. I don't want to go on mission trip. Her and I took her some while we were married because she wanted to, and she loved it. I hated it. But that was her thing with the missions. Like she coming up with the curriculum and all the things to do with kids, and kids that have never seen bubbles. There are children that have never seen bubbles being, blowing before. And she would just talk about it. And now all these people are ruining her legacy? I text those people and I said, my wife is going to get suicidal if she doesn't get her medicine. Let's be very clear. Something bad's going to happen. It's not healthy. I need y'all to understand this. She's had many doctors. They say the same thing. I live with her every day of my life. I know what she needs to stay alive and to stay happy and healthy. All she has to do is take this medicine. Can you please help me? And they text her and say, John Paul's the problem. Get away from John Paul. Okay. When that gets settled, and I don't care who believes it, but once I show the evidence of that, at that point I'm going to start grieving my wife. The fact that no one has spoken to Micah's 4 closest friends, like nobody. You can say you're friends with somebody, or your best friend lives here or there, but when you spend time with them, that's how you really know someone. And the 4 people who Micah spent most time with has not come forward because they're scared to death of how people are going to treat them.
Now I'm going to tell y'all, a lot of stuff I already knew, but this came, it was like a left hook. I did not know there were people that hadn't been spoken to, according to J.P. Miller, who were close to Micah, actually.
Wow.
There's 4 people that Micah spent just about every day with. At some point every day she saw one of these 4 people every day, all 4 of them. And none of them have come forward yet.
Wow, I thought everybody who was close to her basically came out already. So you saying there's 4 people that none of us have heard from at this point?
No, correct.
Oh, wow.
And in fact, the people that have come forward weren't even close to her.
Gotcha.
Now, you can say your friend, my best friend lives in Australia, but unless you spend time with somebody, you don't really know them. And so the people who Micah spent the most time with have not even been interviewed yet. And listen, I believe we should conclude by saying,
Go ahead.
I just noticed we've been talking for almost 2 hours. I really, really appreciate you, and you let me